32 years ago, on the Altair system, Visudan scientists discovered the remnants of an extinct civilization we now call the Ancients. And here we found the secret to defeating the Shivans. How close did we come to being a footnote in the history of a future species that would happen upon our ruins 10,000 years from now? Would they indulge in the fiction of their own immortality until the Shivans came for them? And how long had this gone on? Did the ancients stumble upon the monoliths and the tombs of their predecessors in this distant corner of space, dismissing the warnings carved in the walls of the sepulchre? And when the destroyers came at last, what did the ancients think as they sifted the cremation of dust and bones, staring into the mute remains for a key, some solution to their plight? What if there had been countless races, stretching back into infinity, and like the 9 cities of Troy, each civilization had been built on the rubble of one that came before, each annihilated by the Shivans? The ancients died 8,000 years ago. As humanity emerged from its Neolithic infancy, they believed their voyage across the sea of stars woke the dragon that slept beneath the waves, that the Shivans were birthed from the flux of subspace, and their destruction was the revenge of an angry cosmos. I hear my enemies speculate about my motives, my ambitions. Who is Admiral Aiken Bosch? And what is that old scoundrel up to? The tragedy of my life is that I will be remembered as a butcher of innocence. And this assessment is not unfair. I cannot argue with their condemnation or with the verdict of history. The Neo-Terran front is an army of stupid cattle, driven by their hatreds, their fears and insecurities. Ignorance is the greatest weapon of tyranny, and old wounds open all too easily. I am merely a fool who created a monster I am now powerless to stop. And so I will play my role to the bloody end. I have given the lost generation something to die for. And now my legacy will be crowned with infamy. What my enemies will never understand is that my rebellion is about my love for humanity, not my hatred of Vesudans. In the Gamma Draconis system, the destroyers have returned, and soon the Alliance will learn the method behind my madness. Why does the ancient portal lead us here? Have the Shivans been waiting for us for thousands of years? This odyssey, this exodus. Do we journey toward the promised land or into the valley of the kings? 3 decades ago, I envisioned a new future for our species. And now that we are on the brink of realizing my dream, I feel only solitude and regret. Has my entire life's work been a fool's crusade? Have I led my people into this desert, only to die? My regime has caused nothing but savagery and suffering, but I cannot turn back now. I must find the destroyers that lurk behind this veil of clouds. Or I must wait for the destroyers to find me. The nebula is a remnant of a supernova thousands, if not billions of light years from Earth. And I wonder now if our ancestors witnessed the death of this star, erupting over an Egyptian landscape, blazing with the brilliance of 400 million suns. Even in their divinity, no pharaoh could have imagined this. This is the final entry in the personal log of Admiral Aiken Bosch, Supreme Commander of the Neo-Terran Front. Our encounter with the Shivans has vindicated all I have fought for these past 30 years. My life's work has been achieved. I have created the technology to enable communication between the Shivans and the human race. Although our first contact was rudimentary and crude, I have initiated the first phase of a new alliance with the Destroyers, an alliance upon which the fate of humanity depends. As a young pilot, I battled against the rebels of the Great War, the Galactic Terran Intelligence, whose research of Shivan technology and biology would form the cornerstone of my project. The Terran-Vasudan alliance buried this knowledge, but I resurrected it. I alone realized our species had no future with the Vasudans. If we are to survive, our destiny must lie elsewhere. As I make this final entry, my crew is preparing to scuttle the Iceni and board the Shivan transports. We embark on a miraculous journey toward a new horizon. This tragic era of hatred and misunderstanding between our races is over. On this day, for the first time in my life, I am filled with joy.